if you look at a block linear active device, is a two-put device is shown here. And the input side B1 and B2, two source voltage is connected, and output side we are getting the DO output. Okay, and DO equals to AD into V1 minus V2, where AD is the differential gain, differential voltage gain. There is little notational difference you are observing, otherwise nothing, the same thing. So AD is the gain of the differential amplifier, and we are going to abbreviate as DFAN. Of course, this equation, what you see here, output voltage of the differential amplifier is case of ideal case, you can see that. Because here we have not considered the common mode voltage gain, etc. We'll see in future if it is there. In reality, it will be there. Yes, it is seen that any signal which is common to both inputs will have no effect on the output. In the equation, we have not put anything which is going to affect. I mean, common mode signal is not affect. So it is a kind of ideal case. However, in practical, DFAM cannot be described by this equation. It is ideal case, because in general the output depends not only upon the difference signal VD, which is VD equals to V1 minus V2, but also upon the average signal level, or we call it common mode signal VC, where VC equals to V1 plus V2 by 2. Okay, the average value. Now, for example, if one signal is 50 plus 50 microvolt, say V1, and the second one is minus 50 microvolt, V2 is equal to minus 50 microvolt, the output will not be exactly the same if V1 equals to 1050 microvolt and V2 equals to 950 microvolt, even though the difference VD is 100 microvolt in both the case. Okay, so we have to get an expression which will take care of this. Which will take care of this. We'll see that how output can be expressed taking into account the common mode voltage gain also. The common mode rejection we have already discussed. The foregoing statements are now clarified, and a figure of merit for difference amplifier is introduced. In this figure, the output of this figure can be expressed as a linear combination of the two input voltages. Okay, as A1 V1 plus A2 V2, where A1 is the voltage amplification from input 1, I mean this node, and V1. And for node 2, there's this node, V2 is there, so VO can be written in this way, where V1 will be equals to VC plus VD by 2, and V2 equals to VC minus VD by 2. We have seen earlier that it can be written. Yes or no, Aman? Can it be written this way?
Yes, sir.
If you look at this equation, you can very well get it. If these equations are substituted in this equation, this 15-7, we get VO equals to AD VD plus AC VC. Can you get this or not? Check up. This B1 equals to BC plus VD by 2 and B2 equals to BC minus VD by 2. If you put in this equation, VO can be written this way. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Where AD equals to A1 minus A2 by 2 and AC equals to A1 plus A2. Here it is common mode gain. This is difference gain. The voltage gain for the difference signal is AD and that of the common mode signal is AC. We can measure AD directly by setting V1 equals to minus V2 equals to 0.5 volt, so that VD equals to 1 and VC equals to 0. Is it not? Correct statement. V1 equals to minus V2 equals to 0.5, so that VD will be 1 and VC will be 0. This statement is correct? Here? Aman?
Yes.
Under these conditions, the measured output voltage VO gives the gain AD for the difference signal. Similarly, if we set V1 equals to V2 equals to 1 volt, then VD equals to 0 and VC equals to 1 volt, and so VO equals to AC. The output voltage now is the direct measurement of the common mode gain AC. So in this way you can measure the directly the AD as well as AC. Clearly we should like to have AD as large as possible, whereas AC as less as 0, so that CMRR becomes very high or infinite. The definition of CMRR already we have discussed, and I said that CMRR is applicable for differential amplifier as well as operational amplifier. And we have also discussed that differential amplifier is nothing but a one-stage operational amplifier. Are you remembering? Pratham?
Yes.
Okay. From equation, this equation 15-9 and equation 15-11, we can express VO as this: VO equals to AD into VD within parenthesis 1 plus 1 upon rho, where rho is the CMRR, into BC by VD, where BC is the common voltage and VD is the difference voltage. So from this equation you can see that the amplifier should be designed so that rho is large compared with the ratio of the common mode signal to the difference signal. Common mode signal to the difference signal ratio should be less than this one. Rho should be very large. Is it understood? Design should be made in such a way that, for example, if rho equals to CMRR equals to 1000, in real differential amplifier we may not get infinite, so some realistic value is 1000. If rho equals to 1000, BC equals to 1 and VD equals to 1 millivolt and 1 microvolt, this second term in this equation, second term, this equation 15-12 is equal to first term, means 1. Hence, for an amplifier with a common mode resistance ratio of 1000, a 1 microvolt difference of potential between the two inputs gives the same output as 1 millivolt signal applied with the same polarity to both inputs. That is common mode. Is it understood? Harsh, Tripathi and all?
Yes, sir, understood.
Now, after the discussion, we are now actually really seeing the differential common, rather it is said, earlier we have seen the CMOS version, and that was called source coupled. Now it is emitter coupled. Source coupled because the MOSFET and this terminal was source. Now this terminal is emitter. So emitters are, both the emitters are connected together. This terminal is the emitter for both the BJTs. It's called emitter coupled differential amplifier. Structure is same. The collector resistance or the load resistance for this. Earlier I've seen that this load can be an active load with MOSFETs in case of MOSFETs. Okay. And this VS1, VS2 are the two source signal sources, maybe mic or that kind of things that develops a small voltage, maybe microvolt, in the range of microvolt or millivolt. So this source resistances are having, source voltages are having source resistances, RS, as usual. And this has to, difference of this has to be amplified. For that, this differential amplifier is difference amplifier or amplifier or differential amplifier, whatever you want to say. The circuit here is an excellent differential amplifier if the emitter resistance RE, this one, is large. Large means how large? You cannot make it very large, closer to infinity, because some bias current should flow through this. Okay. ISS I was writing earlier. Are you remembering? And M5 was there, and there was a battery voltage. Are you remembering, Aman?
Yes, sir.
So here the same terminology is not used. It may be I0 or something, I3. The same So if the signal sources VS1 and VS2 are same, equals to say VS, then equations 5, 15-6 and 15-9, from this equation we can write that VD equals to VS1 minus VS2 equals to 0 and VO equals to ACVS. Can we write or not? If both the signals are same, say equals to VS, both maybe 1 micro, let us say 0.1 millivolt or say 10 microvolt, but both are same, whatever is. Okay. Both are same. So So, however, if RE is infinite, what is the problem? RE is infinite, then because of this symmetry, we can assume that IE1 equals to I2 equals to 0. If R equals to infinite, obviously, emitter current cannot be passing through that. It is kind of open. This is disconnected. That you can think of if RE is infinite. Isn't it? This IB2 much less than IC2. This IB2 normally IB or base current is much smaller than IC2. Then IC2 will be almost equals to I2. It follows that BO will be 0. Basically, there is no current. And hence, the common mode gain AC becomes very small and the common mode rejection ratio is very large for a very large value of RE and a symmetrical circuit. We now analyze the emitter coupled circuit for a finite value of RE. This was for infinite value of RE. Now we are going to analyze for RE finite. AC, common mode voltage gain, can be evaluated by setting VS1 equals to VS2 equals to VS, and both signals are same value. And making use of the symmetry, the circuit can be bisected as shown here. I mean, if you look at this, the symmetrical, and maybe your Q1 and Q2 are also identical, and all other things like RC of this one, RC of this one, then RS of this source, RS of this source, all are same, identical. So then we can bisect it and carry out the analysis. Now, previously we have discussed in earlier modules few equations like current gain, then input resistance and voltage gain. And these equations have been discussed and derived also. So an analysis of this circuit using equation 8-16, 67, 8-69, okay, and neglecting the term HRE in equation 868. So HRE means this term is neglected. We can write AC, common mode voltage gain, equals to VO by VS equals to this value. VO, you are writing voltage gain is what? RL. RL is in this case is what? RC. In earlier discussion, we denoted it with RL. Now we are denoting with RC. So corresponding to RC is nothing but RL is nothing but RC. And AI is given here. Putting this value here and at the denominator we are going to put the value of RI, which is here, and we are neglecting this RE. Then we can write that common mode voltage gain is this equation 15 and as 13 can be arrived, provided that HOE RC is much less than 1. Okay. Keeping these conditions, if you put these values into 8-69, then common mode voltage gain can be found as this. Can it be simplified and obtained or not? Aman?
Yes, sir, it can be.
So nothing, just we have to put it and we can get these values based on these conditions. Similarly, the difference mode gain AD, that is differential voltage gain of the differential amplifier, can be obtained by setting Bs1, that is this source, Bs1 equals to minus Bs2 equals to Bs by 2. From the symmetry of this figure 15-6, we see that Bs1, if Bs1 equals to minus Bs2, then drop across Re is 0. And E, that emitter, E is grounded for small signal operation. Under these conditions, the current circuit of figure 15-7b, this is 15-7b, can be used to obtain AD. And it is given as UIBS equals to half into HFE RC by RE plus HIE, provided that HOE RC much less than 1. The common mode rejection ratio can now be obtained based on this equation, 3 equation, 15-11, 15-13 and 15-14, because CMRR is what? Mode of AD divided by AC, isn't it? So we have got AD here, earlier we have got AC here, okay, and already we have got the definition of CMRR here, okay. Based on this, you can find out this CMRR for this differential. Now, an emitter coupled differential amplifier we are discussing with that. Further, what you can see from this discussion. See. From this figure, it is seen that common mode rejection ratio increases with RE. It's here, if you look at all those equations, here RE is there, and earlier equation also we have seen. So we can look at that equation and see that common mode rejection ratio increases with RE. If R increases, then CMR increases, as rated above. There are, however, practical limitations on the magnitude of RE. Yes, we know that common mode rejection ratio, higher value of CMRR is desirable. As high as infinity is desirable, but practically it is not possible. What the reason is said here. We know that RE, higher value of RE can give us higher value of CMRR, but there are some problems. There are, however, practical limitations on the magnitude of RE because of the quotient DC voltage drop across it. The emitter supply VEE, this is the emitter supplies here. VEE must become larger as RE is increased in order to maintain the quotient current at its proper value. Okay. If the operating currents of the transistors are allowed to decrease, this will lead to higher HI values and lower values of HFE. Both of these effects will tend to decrease the common mode rejection ratio. So these are the things about the emitter coupled differential amplifier. You cannot make RE too high because biasing problem will be there. Mass current if doesn't flow, then how it will be able to amplify? Now we'll see how this RE can be improved to get higher value of CMRR. What is the mechanism? Here is the Q3 is used along with one diode and three transistors. That is R1, R2, R3, three transistors, and D diode one diode. Okay. These components, one transistor, one diode, and three resistor, is going to sink a constant current IO from this common emitter. So this Q3 actually basically will be acting as a constant current sink or current source, you can say. Interchangeably, it is used as current source or current sink. Because it is sinking, so it is better term to use it. So what is written here? Let us see. Figuratively, in place of RE, this circuit, whole circuit is used, in which R1, R2, R3 can be adjusted to give the same conditions for Q1 and Q2, as was given earlier in figure 15-6. This modified circuit of 15-8 represents a very high effective emitter resistance RE for the two transistors Q1 and Q2. Since RE is also effective resistance looking into the collector of Q3, okay, here in this looking at collector, it is given by equation 870, which we have seen earlier. So in section 815, it was verified that RE is hundreds of kilo ohms. Its value is several hundreds kilo ohms. Even if R3 is small in the value of 1 kilo ohm. So this circuit is beneficial. Okay. This part. At the cost of one BJT, one diode, and three transistor, you can get higher value of RE. And current also will be linked to that. It is amplifier, active device Q3. We have verified that transistor Q3 acts as an approximately constant current source. Okay. Constant current source, you can say current sink also, doesn't matter. Subject to the condition that Q3 is negligible. That of Q3 condition, subject to the condition that of Q3 is negligible. Applying KVL to the base of Q3, we have this equation. I3 R3 plus BB. I3 R3 see I3 R3 this one. Voltage here. Voltage across R3 plus BB base to emitter. This voltage in this two node equals to VD, the diode voltage across the diode, plus DEE minus VD into R2 by R1 plus R2. Are you getting this point? And this is one terminal. Its voltage is something, and here a voltage divider kind of thing is happening, and voltage of this point is considered. Are you getting this equation? This kind of?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Where we did the diode voltage and IO equals to I3 can be written as this. Using the same, after little manipulation, you can get this equation. If the circuit parameters are chosen so that Vd by R1, Vd R1 by R1 plus R2 is equal to Vb3, then we can write this expression. IO equals to VE, which is a negative potential at the emitter side. I'm going to say here. Divided by R3 into R1 plus R3. So simplified equation, this one gives the current IO, which is the collector current of Q3, which is a constant current basically depending on this resistor. Since this current is independent of the signal voltages Vs1 and Vs2, I mean to say the IO3 doesn't depend on this one as well as this one. It is independent of that. Only few resistance and diode is involved and supply voltage. So this Q3 acts as constant current source, okay, or it is supplying a constant current IO, or sinking. Rather, it is better term to say that Q3 is going to sink a constant current IO from the emitter coupled. Emitter coupled at the top. These are the emitter coupled. For it, this Q3 is sinking a constant current I3 due to this diode and 3 resistors. The above result for IO has been rendered independent of the temperature because of the added diode D. Without D, the current would vary with temperature because VB3 decreases approximately 2.5 millivolt per degree centigrade. Are you getting this point? Without D, the current would vary with temperature because VB3 decreases approximately 2.5 millivolt per degree centigrade. You are increasing the VB will decrease if you are going to increase the temperature for every 2.5 millivolt per degree centigrade will increase. So this diode has this same temperature dependence, and hence the two variations cancel each other. That voltage is also changing, but this is going to cancel with each other, and hence IO does not much vary. Variation may be there, but it is acceptable. But yes, one diode is not sufficient because current voltage of the diode, silicon diode, is what? With that, VB also 0.7 volt. With that, it will not be possible. You see this equation here. And diode equation was there. Diode is there. Night voltage VD is what for silicon?
0.7 volt.
0.7 volt, and that voltage is getting divided by this resistor. It will further reduced or not?
Yes.
But we need what? What VB we need? We need 0.7 volt VB at least, no? So what it's telling, since the cut-in voltage VD of a diode has approximately the same value as the VB3, then equation, this 15-17 equation cannot be satisfied with a single diode. Hence, two diodes in series are used, and that we'll see in future. Rather, I'll show you right now and come back to this. Okay, instead of one diode, as was here, two diode is required for the same reason. Okay, I will show that circuit diagram. I'll come back once again. Here you see, instead of one diode, two diode has been used. This is an operational amplifier, and you see, look at this part is nothing but your differential amplifier, and whatever we are discussing, this part only. Is it in a glance? You can understand that this is what we are discussing there. Aman?
Yes, sir, understood.
So it is the same thing. The first stage of operational amplifier. We are going to study this operational amplifier after some time. Its first stage we are discussing now. Emitter coupled differential amplifier we are discussing, which has been used in this operational amplifier integrated circuit. Go back to where we are there. So understood why the two diode is required. During that time when we discuss we will not discuss this thing, but remember that it is required because of that reason. VP is also 0.7 volt and VD also 0.7 volt, and voltage division is occurring in this equation. Okay. The above discussion assumes that the resistance do not vary with temperature, but it is not true. Since this have a negative temperature coefficient of the resistance, then in practice, equation 15-17 is not satisfied, but R1 by R1 plus R2 is chosen experimentally in such a way that IO is almost independent of temperature. So value of these two resistor R1 and R2 has been experimentally decided. If we take this value, even though there is a change in resistance value for change in temperature, then ultimately we are not going to get varied IO. More or less, IO will be remaining constant, and that is what is required. Is it understood?
Yes, understood.
Okay. Class চলছে পরে কথা বলবো. Consider that Q1, Q2 are identical, and Q3 is the true constant current source. True in the sense it is going to supply IO constant. Whether it has used 2 diode and 3 resistors or whatever is. We are assuming, considering that Q3 is going to provide a constant current, that is I3, which is being drawn from the emitter coupled transistors Q1 and Q2. Under these circumstances, we can demonstrate that the common mode gain is 0 if these two are identical. Okay, assume that Vs1, Vs2 equals to Vs, so that from the symmetry of the circuit, the collector current IC1 is equal to IC2 of Q2. However, since the total current increases, that is IC1 plus IC2 equals to 0, if IO is constant, then IC1 equals to IC2 equals to 0, and AC, common mode voltage gain, equals to RLE minus IC2 by RC divided by BH equals to 0. The differential amplifier is often used in DC applications. It is difficult to design DC amplifiers using transistors because of drift due to variation in HFE, dB in ICBO. These are the parameters of the BJT, bipolar junction transistors. If there is a variation, then with temperature also, it is difficult to design a DC amplifier, differential amplifier. So a shift in any of these quantities changes the output voltage and cannot be distinguished from change in input signal. I mean to say, these values, the parameters are changing, so output value is changing. So it is very difficult to distinguish whether any signal has changed because of that output is changing, or this parameter has changed, that's why output is changing. Okay. So using the techniques of integrated circuits, it is possible to construct a differential amplifier with Q1 Q2 having almost identical characteristics. Means two VGT can be made in such a way that HFE of both, BB of both, and ICBO of both will be same. And if there is a variation in temperature, both will be varying in a same amount. So there will be much no problem. Okay. Under these conditions, any parameter changes due to the temperature will cancel out and the output will not vary. Is it understood, Aman?
Yes, understood.
Differential amplifiers may be cascaded to obtain higher amplifications for the different signal. Outputs BO1, BO2. See, outputs are also taken. Two outputs are also taken sometimes. We have seen earlier that in CMOS based operational amplifier, we have seen that only one output is taken. But here, you can take two outputs and then you can apply somewhere. Single also possible. Here two is shown. Outputs B1, B2 are taken from each collector and are coupled directly to the two bases respectively of the next stage. I mean, if you want to have more than one stage of differential amplifier itself, so this two output will be connected to the base of another two, two MOSFET. Another two MOSFET will be, say it is Q1. In that case, maybe it is Q5. Let me like Q4, and that may be Q5, and then here one visit will be there. That may be Q6. Okay, so 6 transistors required in one differential amplifier if we are using that, and diode plus that 3 resistor, 2 diodes possibly, and 3 resistors. That one is I'm denoting here. So these outputs will be connected to that next is base. Okay, with that huge gain can be achieved. I mean, cascading more than one stage. Finally, the differential amplifier may be used as an emitter coupled phase inverter. For this application, the signal is applied to one base, whereas the other one is excited, is grounded basically. Okay, it's not excited, means grounded. The output voltages taken from the collectors are equal in magnitude. If everything is identical, this one is identical, this one is identical. So all values are RC, etc., RS, etc. are same. Then possibly the equal value output will be obtained, BO1, BO2, but out of phase, 180 degree out of phase shift will be 180 degree. Is it understood?
Yes. Yes.
Now we'll discuss the transfer characteristic of differential amplifier. By the time 5 minutes are there, you can discuss a bit. It is important to examine the transfer characteristics, that is IC versus VB1 minus VB2 of the DFAM of figure this, to understand its advantages and limitations. We first consider this circuit qualitatively, not numerically or mathematically. When VB1 is below the cutoff point of Q1, I mean to say here, below cutoff point of Q1, all the currents IO is flowing here, remember. Currents IO flows through Q2. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
because if BB1 is less than cutoff point of this transistor Q1, then it is not actually conducting. Q1 is not going to conduct any current. So all IC2, you can say IC2 is equal to whole current. We went through that. As BB1 carries Q1 above cutoff, the current in Q1 increases while the current in Q2 decreases, obviously. And some of the currents in the two transistors remain constant and equal to IO. So IO is the sinking in this direction you can think of, or otherwise also doesn't matter because here is negative potential is there. So you can take in this direction also, or direction also, whatever is matter. So IO actually basically is a summation of two currents. Okay. IC1 and IC2. If you consider IBR very small, then IC1 equals to I1 and IC2 equals to I2. If you consider IB are very small. The total range delta view over which the out can follow the input is this multiplication of RC with IO and is therefore adjustable through an adjustment of IO. Okay, you can adjust IO by the changing the resistance RE here, or in this previous circuit we have the three transistors R1, R2, R3, etc. With that you can do. From figure 15-8, we see that I1 equals to I2 equals to minus IO. Yes or no? IO
Yes.
here. And VB1 minus VB2 equals to VB1 minus VB2. Yes or no?
Yes.
The emitter current IE of each transistor is related to the voltage dB by the diode volt ampere characteristic, and that is given by this I equals to IS e to the power dB by dt, where IS is the reverse saturation current. Just like diode equation, diode current equation you have gone through. Diode current equation is similar to that. IS is reverse saturation current. E to the power dB by Vt. Vt is thermal voltage. Okay, Vt is the thermal voltage. It is 26 millivolt at room temperature. 300 K. So, if we assume that Q1 and Q2 are matched, it follows from the equations 15-99, 21 that IC1 almost equals to minus I1 equals to IO by 1 plus e to the power minus within parenthesis BB1 minus BB2 divided by BT. This previous equation gives us this expression. Okay, from here we can get this expression. And IC2 is given by the same expression with BB1, BB2 interchanged. The transfer characteristic described in equation 15-22 for the normalized collected currents IC1 oblique IO and IC2 oblique IO are shown here, where the abscissa is the normalized differential input BB1 minus BB2 by BT. This is normalized value. BT is 26 millivolt, remember 26 millivolt at room temperature or 300 K. So if equation 15-22 is differentiated with respect to BB1 minus BB2, we have the transconductance GMD. We have discussed a little bit about transconductance. What is that definition? GM, earlier I was writing GM equals to delta ID, output current divided by input voltage, VGS, in case of MOSFET. The same thing, output current is divided by the, differentiated with respect to base voltage differences. And GMD equals to IO by 4 BT. It can be obtained as where GMD is evaluated at B1 VB. This equation indicates that for the same value of IO, the effective transconductance of the differential amplifier is 1/4 that of the single transistor. Okay, when it gets reduced, the effective transconductance of the differential amplifier is 1/4 that of a single transistor. It is getting reduced. The following conclusions can be drawn from the transfer curves of this figure. One of those. The differential amplifier is very good limiter, since when the input BB1 minus BB2 exceeds plus minus 4 BT, almost equals to 100 millivolt at room temperature, very little further increase in the output is possible. That is the first conclusion. The slope of these curves defines the transconductance, and it's clear that GMD starts from 0, reaches a maximum value of IO by 40. We have seen in the last slide. And IC1 equals to IC2 equals to IO by 2. And again, approaches 0. The value of GMD is proportional to IO, obviously. From this equation only you can understand. See, the output voltage change VO2 is given by this. It is possible to change the differential gain by varying the value of current IO. This means that automatic gain control is possible with the differential amplifier. Automatic gain control is possible by the bias current IO. Basically. The transfer characteristics are linear in a small region around the operating point, where the input varies approximately plus minus VT, that is 26 millivolt at room temperature. These are the conclusion about this plot. It is possible to increase the region of linearity by inserting two equal resistors RE in series with the emitter leads of 1Q2. This current series feedback added to each transistor results in a smaller value of GMD. Reasonable values for RE are 50 to 100 ohm. Since for large values AD is reduced too much, the insertion of RE also increases the input impedance. So there is a pros and cons of this insertion of RE. Is it understood, Aman?
Yes, sir.
So what is the time now? Is that time? But let's go. It's gone. I'm over time. So the next class we'll discuss here onwards, that is integrated operation amplifier, gain stage and output stage. The same differential amplifier, whatever we discussed today, that will be used in the next lecture, that is operation amplifier. So all of you decide the date of quiz. Already decided to some extent. Discuss with section A and WhatsApp Harsh Tripathi. Okay. Leave the class and join another class.